everybody. Welcome to the Youth Alive podcast. I'm so thankful that you would take time out of your busy day to join us. I'm so excited about student ministry. I'm so excited about leadership, and I love putting the two of them together. So what this podcast is aimed to do is we want to help you, if you're a youth leader, youth pastor, or a student who's trying to make a difference on campus, we want to help you become a better influencer in your community and in your world. Why? It's because I believe that leadership is all about influence. If you're a better influencer, you're a better leader. So this is episode 3. Can you believe it? We're already at episode 3, and today what I want to cover is I want to look at how do we create a flagship campus club. Now it's a little different language, a little different lingo than what we're probably used to. So normally we say we want to launch a life-giving campus club in every school, and that's the vision across the board, right? But this one in particular is, yes, let's start a life-giving campus club, but what does it mean to have a flagship club? So we're gonna get really practical in this, and so we've covered how-to steps for clubs on several other platforms. If you saw our Every Student, Every School resource videos that we launched at Youth Convention, if you want those, they're on YouTube. I can put the link in the description as well. We talked about that in those platforms and sometimes on social media and things like that. But I want to get even more practical and more in depth on what this looks like and what we're trying to accomplish here. So let me back up a little bit, okay? Let me back up. There's 1,979 schools in Arizona, right? And 488,000 teenagers. So we got a lot of work ahead of us, a lot of work to do. So anytime you see a big goal, I think it's really daunting sometimes to see a really massive goal and just look at those numbers and be like, okay, now what do we do? So I'm going to take a drink really quick. My mouth is dry. All right, and now we're going to get started. So I think we can look at some big numbers and kind of get intimidated, right? So what does that break down to? I want to kind of break down some strategy. I want to break down, simplify, and hopefully make this vision, make this goal a little more tangible, a little more reachable for all of us. So if you're not familiar with the Assemblies of God here in Arizona, our network, we have a network of churches, about 230 churches all across Arizona, okay? And this network, those 230 churches break down to 14 what are called sections. So we have 14 sections all across Arizona. Some are really big, some are really small or smaller. In the city, I think we have 4 sections just in the city. So there's 14 sections here in the Arizona Ministry Network, okay? Now, what we want to do is this. My goal would be by 2020 to create a life-giving club a flagship club in all 14 sections in Arizona that would serve as mentors, that would serve as a resource, that would serve as a reference point for any new campus clubs that are getting started. So, hold on, back up, Christian. You still haven't told us what a flagship club looks like. You still haven't told us. So, what is a flagship? So it's an old term, and it basically means, so if you're in a navy back with sailboats, right? The flagship boat in the sea is the one that is carrying the admiral. The flagship is the boat that is carrying the man in charge, the one calling the shots. It's what everybody else is looking to. It's what everybody else is thinking, okay, I'm going to wait for their call, I'm going to wait for their decision. So basically, the flagship is the influencer in this case. So my goal will be this, in all 14 sections of Arizona by 2020, so that's not very far away, I still think we can do this. I want to see a flagship campus club arise in all 14 of our sections. A club that would be influential, a club that would be thriving, a club that's seeing students getting saved, and clubs that are bringing school assemblies in, and it's just amazing. So, but back up, I think we need to start off at ground zero. So I always want to make sure that when we're doing these things that I'm casting a clear vision and we know what we're trying to accomplish. And so for me, I'm not doing anybody a service if I'm just telling you what to do and I'm not really helping you figure out ways to get there. Now, I can give you some guiding principles, but as far as telling you what, like the day-to-day, day-in, out decisions and all those sorts of things, that's going to be between you, your youth pastor, and Jesus. So I'm going to give you some guiding principles on how you start at ground zero and to become a flagship club. Maybe you're the one who is going to start or begin to lead the flagship club in your section. So here we go. Steps to getting there. Number one, interest. You got to start with interest. So maybe there is no club at your school, or maybe there already is a campus club at your school that you're going to be part of, all right? So there's got to be interest. If you're starting a campus club, there's got to be interest between you, your youth pastor. So we want to help. We want to help when it comes to piquing the interest of people. So whether that means we do a Youth Alive service at your youth group. Maybe you're a youth pastor watching this, and you're like, I want to get students interested in starting a club at my school or starting a club at their school. I just gotta get them inspired. Then what we would love to do, one, we can come and do a Youth Alive service at your youth group where we would pitch the vision and interact with your kids, or by especially meeting with, maybe you say, hey, I got some students who are interested, they just need some help. Then we would love to sit down with your students and talk them through some ideas and what that could look like. So let's get the interest there. So maybe right now you're a youth group, or you're a church that doesn't have a youth ministry. Now, I've been in a few areas of Arizona where there just isn't a youth pastor. There just isn't a youth ministry. Maybe you're a senior pastor that you found yourself watching this. You're like, this is great. I want this, but I don't have a youth group. Begin to pray that something would happen. Begin to pray for the club, the campus in your area, and that something God would bring about interest. That God would bring about someone who would be willing to take up the mantle of starting a campus club. We have a story where there's a brand new church started in September. It was a revitalization, no youth group. Got plugged into the local school, and as a result, the community, not only the church, but the youth group have both exploded. It's fantastic. So you might not have anything right now, but pray through that. There's got to be interest. Number one is interest. Number two, pick a student, or maybe it's yourself, like, hey, I'm going to be this person that's going to start this campus club, and then sign up. We have the link in the description on all of our videos on how you can start up a campus club. What you'll do is just sign up, and then we'll send you in the mail a packet. That's your starter kit. It's your starter packet. Several kids across Arizona have received this. It's a book, a backpack, some stickers, and a brochure, but also there's a packet of information that will help you as far as a checklist of what needs to get done, a constitution, and that you can present to your principal, and all sorts of things. And then what you want to do after you get your starter kit is organize. Organize is the best of your ability. Maybe you're not the most organized person in the world. Maybe you're not a type A person. You're like me. You're a type A, left brain, and you're crazy like me. Still, there needs to be some organization. So what do you got to do? You organize people around you that are the organizational types. For here at the ministry office or the network office, you have me, who I think I'm super crazy and loud and obnoxious, and I got ideas. But then you have someone like a Bria Graff, who is our administrative assistant. I say, hey Bria, these are some plans I have. These are some ideas I have. Poke holes in them because you see things that I don't. So what you're going to want to do, students, is you're going to want to organize leaders around you. So how do you do that? I would say get 2 to 3 other Christians in your school. So before you start this club, and youth pastors, before your students start with the club, what you need to do is ask some clarification questions. Who's your team? Who do you have helping you? Who do you have? Because listen, you're not going to be effective if you're doing it by yourself. You cannot be effective without a team. You might be able to inspire people, but you can't organize anything. You might be able to organize everything, but you can't inspire anybody. So you need a team. So organize a couple Christian friends around you. And yes, to be on your leadership team, they have to be Christian. Why? Because we're wanting to reach the lost. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't, if I'm a pastor, I wouldn't hire people on my church staff that aren't Christians. Like-minded people go to the same place. So, organize a student team. Youth pastors, you can help your students, or you built a youth leadership team, okay? So, use some of those guiding principles to help your students organize their youth team, their Youth Alive team. And then also students and youth pastors work together on this. So organize, so let's say a student, once you sign up, you organize with your youth pastor. What is this going to look like? Hey, Pastor Jim, I have this vision, I have this idea, can you help me? Okay, so organize and then find a host teacher. Step 4, find a host. Find a host. So what this looks like, you say, hey, Mrs. So-and-so, I have this vision, I have an idea, I want to start a Christian club in my school, in this school, can we use your room at this time to this time? Yeah, sure. When is the best time to do a club? I would say this, do it during lunch. But we have 3 lunches, we're going to miss kids. Let me tell you something. Even if you have one lunch that is having a club and it's thriving, but all the other lunches are missing out. That's not necessarily a bad thing, because what you're going to do, if you have a club during one lunch that's doing really well and other people want to be a part of it, what it's going to do is it's going to open up windows, open up doors for people who are going to step in and say, I want that, I'll do it, and they can use your influence, they can use your help to get one started for the other lunch. Think of it like this. Nike, they drop shoes every other day, right? But they drop limited release shoes. So they might drop 50,000 pairs of an Air Jordan 1, right? They might drop 57,000 pairs, right? Everyone wants them. And as soon as they drop, only a few people get them. But those who didn't get them, they want them that much more. The shoes are that much more valuable. You know what I mean? Are you tracking with what I'm saying here? So I think if you have a club during one lunch, yeah, you might have 2 other lunches that don't have one, but what you have the opportunity now to do is you have the opportunity now to make the Youth Alive Club that much more valuable, that much more desired. Say, hey, man, we got to have it right here. If you want it, you can start it. Maybe you're a senior and the junior senior lunch, you have a club then. The freshmen and sophomores, like, I want one. Then all right, you help them get one started. And what you've done is you've created it a more valuable club. Why is it important to do it during lunch? Number one is this, because during lunch, you're getting kids right on campus already. After school, there's always a reason to not be there. And if you're wanting to reach kids like me in high school, there's no way I'm staying after school unless it's for detention, which happened a lot. And then before school, it's hard. So once you find a host, this is still part of step 4. Once you find your host, I would say that youth pastors, you can help a lot with this. This is how your relationship can really develop with your students when it comes to reaching their campus, is providing pizza for the club. Now here's the deal. If you are providing pizza, I promise you, kids will come. I've been to many schools around Arizona and where students have said, I heard there's free pizza, so I came. So students, ask your youth pastor, hey, would you be willing to bring pizza once a week during my lunch? That'd be awesome, okay? And then also, I would always say, do a 30-minute club, 15-minute talk. That's it, right? And then do a $5 gift card, right? So at the very end, give away a gift card. Makes kids want to come. So that's a lot right there in step 4 is finding your host and getting it during lunch. Once you got your host and you organized when you're going to meet, then I would say there in your packet there's what's called a student interest form. I would say get as many signatures on that as possible. Why is that important? Because 1, once you get signups, then you can follow up with those people and invite them. 2, that will play into step 6, which is getting approved. So step 1, interest. Step 2, sign up. Step 3, organize. Step 4, find a host. Step 5, get students interested. That's your student interest form. Get as many signups as possible. And then step 6 is get approved. So once you've got steps 1 through 5, step 6 happens. where you go to either your principal or you go to whoever in your front office oversees campus clubs, right? And then you have your constitution, which you'll get in your starter packet, and then you have that student interest form that says, look how many students that I have already that say, yes, I will come to this. And you have this teacher who already says, I will sponsor it. And you, right there, you have ammunition on why this is important. People really want to be a part of this. And most of the time, I think your principal is going to be proud of you, most of the time, because you wanted to do something for your school. So, and then the last one would be this. Step 7 is launch. Once you launch, do it big. You know what I mean? Do it big. Figure out a way that you can promote this really big and do a big launch. And then once you set your date, once you set your time, so maybe it's Wednesdays at lunch, don't stop. Don't stop. Keep going. And then as far as curriculum goes, as far as content goes, I would encourage you to think about this. What if your youth pastor could come speak for you? Or another idea that'd be really fantastic to do, if you're not the speaking type, what you could do is say this, hey, Pastor Jeff, could I take your sermon from this week? Could I take those sermon notes and tweak them? Or maybe this, hey, Pastor Joe, would you help me take your sermon notes and turn them into a small group guide that I could use for my campus club? Because here's the thing, most of your youth groups are already doing small groups. Why not ask your youth pastor for a small group guide that you could just lead discussion at your campus club? Because here's the thing, students, they don't really care about information, they want conversation. So I think if you get some content that you can talk about and get people talking, and then once you've got people talking, you have them. And so once your campus club is going, I would say always make an opportunity for a student who's at your club who doesn't know Jesus to know Jesus. So give them an opportunity to know Jesus, and then find some way once a month, maybe at least twice a semester, find some ways that you can practically serve your campus. There's a thing every semester called Love Our School Day, where you can come on a Saturday, team up with some churches, and do a serve project for your campus. What if your campus club could be that? And I think if you're doing those things over time, you're going to develop a reputation. You have good content every week. You got pizza every week. You got a giveaway every week. You got high energy leaders on your team. You have a youth pastor once a month coming from other churches to speak life into your campus club. So in so doing, what's going to happen is you're going to create an attractive environment. You're going to create a place where people want to be. And so I believe that's how you create a flagship club. Do it and do it well. Do it with confidence. Ask the Lord to be with you. And I believe that is how you will create a flagship campus club. So what I would like you to do is this. If you could comment below and let us know what's some content that you would like to hear about. What are some topics, youth pastors, students, what are some things that you would like to know more about when it comes to campus ministry, when it comes to youth ministry? Or maybe who are some influencers you would like to see us interview right here on this podcast? Let us know in the comments below, and we will take that to heart. Also, if you haven't subscribed yet, be sure you subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. Also, follow us on Arizona Youth Alive, AZ Youth Alive on Instagram, just to keep up with our live updates. And then after this, we're gonna have a bonus episode coming up, a special guest. So stay tuned for that. So you'll want to subscribe so you get our bonus episodes when those drop. So make sure you stay tuned for that. And then anyway, I'm so excited. Thank you again for so much for watching this podcast. I cannot thank you enough. Because if we can influence better, we lead better. Amen? All right, let's reach every student, every school.
Say, Jesus, the answer is yes before you even ask the question. That is a heart of obedience. That is a heart of willingness to trust that God has a better plan than anything you can ask or imagine. The answer is yes.